Every Friday, we assemble the top 5 weird news stories of the week.
And a few of those headlines really stuck with us, for better or for worse.
Here are our 5 strangest, weirdest, and downright cringiest stories of 2020.
But wait, we've got honorable mentions too, so you might want to stick around after the countdown because, let's be honest, there was plenty of weird to go around this year.
Clocking in at number 5, the discovery of buried treasure. After flying hundreds of combat missions and being rescued in hostile jungles, Forrest Fenn returned from the Vietnam War to become the most famous art dealer in Santa Fe, New Mexico. He'd had drinks with Jackie O, stashed Sitting Bull's peace pipe in his vault, but his proudest accomplishment? Setting the spirit of adventure ablaze for thousands pursuing his treasure of jewels, gold, and other artifacts hidden away in the Rocky Mountains. This past year, someone finally found his buried treasure just months before the 90-year-old Fenn passed away.
4. Marrying a pet? In an attempt to raise money for an animal shelter, Scott Perry of Los Angeles, California said, "I do" to his cat. Yes, Scott adopted the love of his life, Olivia, from LA's Best Friends Animal Sanctuary in 2015, but it was the bond of quarantine that inspired him to take the plunge. Complete with a wedding website and registry, a fundraiser for the shelter, the Perry's wedding took place on Instagram, and you best believe we sent them our well wishes. There were also a handful of unbelievable discoveries in 2020. Researchers at the Toledo Zoo discovered that Tasmanian devils light up like Christmas trees when under ultraviolet light, thanks to biofluorescence. When placed under a UV light, the animal absorbed the lights, causing the skin on its snout, eyes, and inner ears to immediately emit a blue glow. And then, over in Peru, what looks like a large doodle of a cat in the southern hills was discovered and confirmed to be a historic Nazca line dating back to between 200 and 100 BC. Over in Mexico, in preparation for construction of an airport outside of Mexico City, a mammoth discovery was also made, the remains of approximately 60 Colombian mammoths. Now those are some serious wins for science and history right there.
Of course, it wouldn't be a Ripley's Top 5 countdown without a few bodily functions. After 7 years of painful headaches, this 25-year-old Australian woman received an MRI from her doctor. The scan revealed an area of her brain occupied by what seemed to be a tumor. But upon removing the lesion, they discovered that the mass was actually a cyst full of tapeworm larvae. This story will be living rent-free in my brain forever now, in addition to that wacky instance we covered where doctors removed a 15-pound hairball from a woman's stomach.
Lizard poop. A personal favorite of the Ripley's team has to be our fat lizard friend. Aptly awarded the number 2 slot, a northern curly-tailed lizard unfortunately passed away as a result of a poor quarantine diet. The lizard had been dining near a pizza parlor in Cocoa Beach, Florida, where it was found by a curious biologist from the University of Florida. She noticed this particular lizard was pretty swollen, very large, and at first she thought it was pregnant, but later discovered it was severely constipated. The lizard's bowels had become congested after eating pizza-greased sand, and it developed a fecal bolus clog that made up a staggering 80% of its weight. According to biologists at the university, this smashed the previous reptile record by nearly 60%. The 3D scans of this guy continue to dance in my dreams.
And finally, we've arrived at number 1. The Russians have been infiltrating everything lately. Throats? A shocking video was released showing Russian doctors pulling a 4-foot-long snake from a woman's mouth. Just roll the clip. The unnamed woman from Dagestan was rushed to the hospital after the serpent slithered into her mouth and down her throat while she was sleeping in her yard. Doctors had to extricate the snake carefully and were surprised themselves to see the head of a serpent emerge. Now, whether or not this video footage is 100% authentic continues to remain up for debate, but apparently locals are now heavily warned about sleeping outside.
So those were our top 5, and while these didn't make the cut, they were way too good to pass up. My personal favorite, the petition started by Tyler Woodbridge to change Ohio's state capital from Columbus to Flavortown. Sadly, the signatures were just a few thousand short, but we're totally here for these guys' grocery games. However, one city was successful in their renaming venture. The Oregon Historical Society ran a city survey to name one of their beautiful national parks. Ultimately, the residents of Florence, Oregon voted to name it the Exploding Whale National Park. This name change stems from the blubbering history of whales washing up on shore and being removed using sticks of dynamite. And while 2020 was certainly strange, we'd be lying if we said we weren't looking forward to another wonderfully weird year in 2021.
And so you don't miss out on the cool stuff and strange things this year will bring, join us for Weird News Happy Hour on Ripley's Facebook and Twitch every Friday at 5 p.m. Eastern Time.
Stay weird and Happy New Year.